Okay, this may ruffle your feathers a little bit. I did a video recently about being on time and on time being 10 minutes early. And oh, the comments that I got with one of the shorts that I made, they're really honed in on where you should be at the time that you're supposed to be at work. I just want to say the following. Some people said, well, clearly management, is pushing down this micromanagement style, and it doesn't really matter what time you get to work as long as the job gets done. And there's somebody who values punctuality over productivity and all sorts of comments like that. And I just want to say, if you are an individual who thinks for a moment that it's not important to be to work on time, that is not strolling in from the parking lot at 8 o'clock if that's your time to start working, and then going to the bathroom for 15 minutes while you scroll Facebook, and then going to get a cup of coffee, and then going for a snack, and maybe stepping outside for a smoke break, and then coming in at 8:30, 8:45 to finally start work, I would say shame on you, because you're stealing from your boss. Now, this has nothing to do with during the day. If you need to use the restroom, certainly you have breaks during the day where you can step outside, do your smoke break. If you have nature calling and you have to use the restroom at an unpredictable time, and that's how it works most of the time, of course, take care of business. But to think that you have the privilege or the right, or it's morally equivalent to something else, when you must be allowed to stroll into work whenever you want, is kind of shameful, actually. You imagine yourself being an owner. So if you are an employee, of course, you think that way. Not all employees. I've been an employee. I've owned my own companies. I own my own company today. And I've worked every job from the fast food flipping burgers to running a large group of 102 locations to then owning my own company. I've done it all from the shop floor level to the executive CEO level and everywhere in between. And I can tell you as an employee, I never thought it was right that I would just kind of stroll in when I felt like it. Think of this, for example. Imagine you are a radio guy or a radio gal or a radio something in today's world. And you're supposed to be on the air at 2 p.m. to relieve the guy who came in at 9 o'clock in the morning. He's been talking for 4 or 5 hours. And you stroll in you get into the parking lot about 1:59. And then you go use the restroom for 10 or 15 minutes, or you go get your cup of coffee, the things I just talked about a moment ago. The guy whose shift is supposed to end at 2 o'clock, he should be going home or being working in the production studio, doing commercial work, right? Voicing commercials, or maybe selling advertising if that's the other part of his day. You're supposed to be on the air at 2 o'clock. Be on the air at 2 o'clock. So look at every job that's out there as if you were on the air at the time you're supposed to start your job. How difficult is that? It drives me crazy when people think, well, I should just start whenever I want to start. After all, productivity is much more important than being on time. Tell that to the surgeon who is supposed to be operating on you at a certain time but has decided to kind of stroll in when he wants. Or you get to the coffee shop to get your coffee because you desperately want your cup of coffee in the morning. And you go through the drive-thru and nobody's there at the time that they're supposed to be open because folks are just kind of strolling in, meandering in, doing their own thing. How would you like that if you're on the receiving end? Or if you're the owner, if you're the boss, if it's your money that you're paying people to rip you off. Oh, well, everyone's like that. All employers are tyrannical. I've seen those kinds of comments too. And I love having comments because it gives me more material to put on this channel. Ha ha ha. No, everyone's not tyrannical. No, everyone's not overworked and underpaid. If you are overworked and underpaid, go get another job. Well, I can't go get another job. People can't choose their own job. I saw that in one of the comments. Are you serious? This is the United States of America, or another free nation if you're in other countries where you actually have the freedoms to go and come and go as you please and select the career path that you want to be on and get the kind of job that you want to get. And if you're an excuse maker, well, I can't just choose my own job. I'm overworked. I'm underpaid. Go peddle that someplace else. You will never accomplish anything in life career-wise, if you're the one that's constantly complaining about I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, I can't choose my own job, I can't do this, I can't do that, the boss wants too much of me, then find another job. You certainly have the power to do that. No one is forcing you to do the work that you're doing in a free society. And if you've limited yourself to where you can't get another job that pays better, go to school. Maybe not a four-year college. It's expensive. Learn a trade. Ask your boss, hey, how can I add value to this company? Step outside the box. Step outside your comfort zone and maybe ask how you can add more value. Maybe if you show up on time, even if it is a few minutes early, that's so difficult to do, you might be considered for a pay raise one day. You might be offered a promotion. You might be considered the one that they don't want to let go when they're forced to lay off 1,000 people. Because you're the guy or the gal who's always on time, who's not just on time, but shows up 5 or 10 minutes early just to make sure that the boss has comfort knowing that you're there. And you ask for more assignments. And you don't have I'm an overworked, underpaid attitude. Because that's an attitude. Okay, so let's say you do work for an overworking, underpaying employer. Then find another job. How difficult is that? It's difficult in some cases. I get that. Jobs aren't always just mighty, mighty plentiful. I get that too. Been there and done that. I've been in the workforce for over 45 years at the time of this recording. 46 years. I've seen it all. Believe me, I've seen it all. I've been in cases where you submit resume after resume after resume. Hundreds. Hoping for that interview. You make the phone calls. You do all the follow-up work. It doesn't come. But at some point, it does come. Unless you're just that person that nobody wants to hire. And that may be the case too. And that may be a personal issue that you have to deal with. If you're that person that you've got the work ethic that nobody else wants, you have an attitude that stinks, you stroll in whenever you want to, you complain about the boss openly, you gripe and complain about your working conditions openly on a regular basis, it's never good enough. Maybe you're absent much more than you should be. And I know some people say, well, who cares if I'm absent 6 days a month? Are you kidding me? And you wonder why you can't get ahead? You wonder why you're not getting promoted? You might not be promotion material. So you have to fix you. Sorry, it's the way it is. But don't give me this, every job is like that. Every boss is like that. No, every boss isn't like that. The boss just wants you to be to work on time, to do the work you're paid to do. Yes, productivity is important, but also being on time is important. You have colleagues and coworkers who are on time all the time. And if they're not, you may have a cultural thing that you're dealing with. You may have a workplace attitude adjustment that needs to take place among the entire crew. Maybe you do have a boss that is terrible. A fish does rot from the head down, I get that too. If that's the case, again, look for a different job. But if you are the attitude, if you are the problem, and you take yourself someplace else, that job will be just as bad because you are the issue. Until you fix you, every job you have is going to stink. How hard can that possibly be? Not very difficult. So if you want to get ahead, volunteer for additional assignments. Be to work on time, maybe a few minutes early. Don't complain when the boss wants you to stay maybe a little bit late. He's paying you, after all, to stay a little bit late, unless you're salaried, in which case, that's what you signed up for. But if you want to get ahead, you've got to be that one that shines brighter than the rest. Because if you don't, and everyone else is chosen over you, or you constantly get passed over, that's on you. You have responsibility to yourself, and if you have family, to your family, to improve your situation. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.